right, guys, welcome back to the Wemaxit YouTube channel. I'm your host, JD. You have Africans right over there, or co-host. His link will be in the description and also in the chat throughout the video, so please give him a follow. So as you saw by the title, we are going to be discussing almost everything because we haven't been on the channel for a while now. So we had missed the entire U17s because I was actually in England and I was a little bit busy with the family. Yes, even though a lot of persons thought that I was not in England, but I was in England. Yes. So we have to discuss that. Then we have to discuss the upcoming Nations League, and we're going to look at three of the rosters: Suriname, Haiti, and Jamaica. But you obviously know that we have to patch in Canada as well because Canada has some little issues going on, and we have missed that as well. So good afternoon, Mr. Africans, or good evening, your time. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. It's afternoon here, so it's a long weekend for a lot of us. So it's the last weekend before most of the kids go back to school. So a lot of the families are traveling. I took some time away to travel, but always going to make time for you to make sure we come in here and have our conversations and get back here. Because like you said, JD, I've missed this. I've missed being able to come in and talk, and we'll get this going a little bit more consistently as the year goes on, and it'll be fun to go. But yeah, ready to talk all things football in terms of Nations League. And yes, we will talk about Canada because I live here. I have no choice. I have to.
All right. So let me get into the U17s first so we can then after go into the Nations League and stuff and give everyone what they do want. So for the U17s, let me put it up on the screen so we can give you guys all the necessary information that you do want. All right. Yes. So 1 second, guys. Let me bring it up on the screen right here for you. And we can show it to you. All right. So this is how it looks, guys. How they did it. This is the new format for the CONCACAF. Let me know if you are okay with it, if you are watching from inside the chat or you're rewatching. Everything for CONCACAF now is more ranking based. So for the girls, it's mainly the top two teams, which is Mexico and United States at this point in the lower leagues. All right. So they have automatically qualified. And then you have 6 groups trying to go there to match them. What say you, Africans? Let me start right there. Then we get through the groups and then we give our takes on each one of the teams.
I think for me, my initial thought was I wanted to see more tournaments. And there's a bit of a trend that you're starting to see with these tournaments is that the idea is that they were sold on the notion that you're giving more teams games, which means instead of just playing 4 games, you get them playing all 4 games, but then additional games to play. What's been happening, we saw this at the U20s and especially this year at the U17s, we've had teams that have had to drop out, whether they weren't ready, whether the federations respectfully didn't take this seriously. But we ran into a situation where we had 2 groups of 2, 2 groups of 3, and then 2 groups of 4. When initially, when everything was drawn, you were supposed to have 2 groups of 5 and then 4 groups of 4, which kind of destroys the notion of, let's get games. Now, granted, it's the first time they're running this, but now we've seen this in 2 consecutive girls' youth tournaments, right? And I think that's a bit of a concern because if your whole notion is to sell this on more games to be played, then those games have to be there. Because I don't think it's fair to any of the girls who were able to go and play that you go there. Like, for example, Jamaica's group. Jamaica was hosting a group, and they were supposed to have 4 teams there. And eventually, it just turned into Panama. So how are you going to play? You can't just play the team once. So you play 2 games in Jamaica. The winner of those 2 moves on. I don't think that's a fair way to look at it. Now, that's the reality of the situation. But the more it's gone on, I think it's starting to create a few problems. I do fear that we won't really hear much unless this happens at a boys tournament. Because if this happens for the boys tournament, then all of a sudden there's just one team that's able to go through. So the next U20 tournament for the boys coming up, if that happens for them, I think you'll hear more of an upcry about it, which is unfortunate because we've seen it happen twice for the girls. And I think that's not fair especially coming off the World Cup that they just had. If you're really trying to grow it, you have to do your best to make sure you're giving these teams the opportunity to grow. If these players are the future of the region, give them more of a platform than just, we're going to give you 6 games. Actually, we meant 2, and we'll go from there. So I'm starting to sour on the format. But that's I've always had questions about it, but I wanted to see it play out first. And based off 2 runs, I'm starting to sour on this format, how it's set up. What about you, JB?
Okay, for me, yeah, I do believe that those missing teams definitely hurt the competitiveness, competitive edge, and to see more diversity through the teams and stuff, because you wanted to see how Jamaica matched up against a smaller team, and then after coming up against Panama, you would have they would have had time to work on it. And worst off, we heard that the Jamaican team never had much more than 1 week, so that would have given them even extra time to help them
Yeah.
along the way. So definitely the format definitely never helped, as what you said. I do agree on that side. But it went on, and I thought that I liked a lot of the ladies team playing. I
Yeah.
wanted that it was a massive improvement this time from a lot of teams. All
Mhm.
right, a lot of them look very much better. The standard have really risen to a higher heights in this region. Naturally, you would have seen maybe 3 teams playing at a high level. Now you can say that even though you will still see Mexico and United States kind of a little bit a cut above,
Mhm.
I think the next 3-4 teams will be not just a walkover. It's going to be good, entertaining games to watch for me. I just have that feeling. All
Mhm.
right. Yes. Before we get into it, let me just take some of the comments them right here, and then we give out the groups for you. So we have judgmental deity. Big up. Thanks for being here. Josh in the building. Massive respect. Then we have Sean Base. Hope all is well with you and your family. Just saw you back and never heard from you. Checked on you. Hopefully you're okay and well, my brother. All right. Osh Poppy, big up yourself. Thanks for being here. Guys, as you come in, please do smash the like button if you're rewatching. Give your take on each one of the subjects then. All right. So we have Group A here. El Salvador ended on 6 points. And Trinidad and Tobago El Salvador ended on 9 points. Trinidad and Tobago ended on 6 points. And remember, it's only one team went through. Cayman, 3 points, and Curacao rock bottom. What say you on that group? What you expected this? Let me know.
I think I expected something like this. I was actually curious to see how much Trinidad could take a step at this level. I had heard some good things about some of their players, and for the most part, versus the Cayman Islands and Curacao, they were able to get the results. But El Salvador, right now, you're seeing them starting to push, especially on that youth level, both from a recruitment and from a development standpoint. They're starting to push into that middle class of teams that are all starting to emerge within a CONCACAF. And I think that's going to be the interesting thing to see as we look over these next, especially with the next World Cup coming. I think you have your top tier teams in CONCACAF. You have the next tier, and then you have a middle class. And that middle class, where we would look at before and say like teams like Haiti, teams like Panama, no, they're now starting to move up into like another tier. And that next group of teams coming, I think that'll be interesting. And El Salvador at the youth level have been growing over these last few years. I've liked what I've seen from them, and I think what they did here really shows the level of their players right now. And I'm looking forward to see kind of where they now match up within the groups. The groups will be, again, once you get to the U-17s championships, there's nowhere to hide, right? There, with all due respect to teams like the Cayman Islands and Curacao, you can't hide with those teams, right? You're playing a team that has won its group and the U.S. or Mexico. So there's no hiding. Quality will now meet quality, and now tactics and talent will take over here. So I'm very much curious, but El Salvador taking this group is not a surprise to me at this point.
I would agree as well. I thought that maybe Curacao would have done a little bit better based
Mhm.
on the fact that they have the level to recruit from. But obviously, they are trying to fix things just like Suriname as well. So maybe
Mhm.
it will take a little bit more time. But El Salvador always came out strong, and they did just the same again. So I am not surprised as well. Fully deserved. They have a good organized team, and
Yeah.
they try to play with high press as well. So maybe that can create problems with bigger teams. But let's see. Then you have Group B. 3 teams was actually in this group. You had
Mhm.
Cuba and Barbados. All right, Haiti and finished this one on 6 points, defeating both teams, and did a very good job. Haiti looking strong. What say you guys? What say you guys on it, and Africans? What say you on the 80s performance? Because I was impressed with 80, the way they played. What say
No,
you? You think
I was
can cause
impressed
some
with them
problems?
as well. No, I think they can cause some problems. They definitely have the talent. Again, we've always said about Haiti, if the country, if the environment could ever stabilize, that team would start to really push more teams in CONCACAF than they are. And I mean, they made the World Cup. Yes, they didn't win a game, but they looked very good. They had a very good showing there, and their youth teams have always been threats. So to see them coming through, I think the Cuba game did test them a little bit. I like Cuba. Cuba's that team that I think if they can get, they just need maybe a player or so that they can really start to either build around but move. But Cuba's a team I feel like is on the up and ups coming. Maybe where like I would say El Salvador and Honduras were a couple years back. I feel that Cuba is moving towards that. But I think Haiti, for where they are, Haiti should have come away with this group, and they did. Struggle a bit, but Cuba's not a walkover side, so I do see that challenge coming through. But ultimately, Haiti, Cuba, Barbados, I saw it going chalk like that as well. What about you?
Same 80. I'm impressed with them. They apply the same thing that we expected from them, the physicality and the speed. Yeah, but definitely they add more technical side to it. I was very much surprised on the technical side because I knew that they never had enough time, as what you said, to prepare and everything. But and if they do have enough time, like all other countries, it will definitely be the threat of this region towards the top three, basically. So they showcase that they are the team that tells me that nobody should have excuses. You understand me?
That's
so when
fair.
I hear other teams complaining, I just look at 80 and they are always delivering, and that's why I always support 80 so highly. You understand me? Because they
That's
have
fair.
no excuse. They just go in and play, and every single time they seems to turn up looking good.
Yeah.
All right. So 80 is the no excuse team, and I do think they have a good chance to try and continue pushing. And even if they don't make it, which is highly likely because you have two top level teams, I am still going to say that they are a very, very good team. All right, and fully deserve to be amongst the the championship. They deserve to be here.
No, agreed. Agreed. I think they are the top. They are a top 8 youth level team. You can argue they're also a top 8 on the women's side as well. So them being here shouldn't be a surprise. We always look at them and wonder maybe if they could do a little bit better of this. But for what they are, I do agree with you, JD. I think it does make you question. Not to say that teams don't deserve excuses, but if they're able to do it how they're doing it, you have to give them the respect and their flowers for what they're doing based off their environment and their circumstances as well.
Agreed. So us Puppy, thanks for being here. Massive respect. John Joseph Brown, how you doing, man? Kelvin Dre in the building, Chris Smith, and Sean B said he's doing well. I'm glad that I have that. And we have a super chat in the building. Lord for a reason said up JD, Africans and everyone else. Massive respect, Lord for a reason. Thanks very much for the super chat as well. People, as soon as they come in, please do hit the like button, share, and subscribe. Once this show once the content is finished, we'll answer questions in between, and once it's done, it's done. All right. So please do hit the like button, leave your thoughts, and just support the movement. So we have Costa Rica here, won both games over Guatemala. Watch both of these games. I was impressed with Guatemala and Costa Rica. I think Costa Rica, their technical ability will help them out for all the World Cups in the next 4 years. The World Cups in the next 4 years. They are a very good team, and they are going to cause some problems in the next round. What say you?
Well, U20, they were was it U20 they were 4th place? Or is that Panama?
Fourth place would be always Puerto Rico. So I thought it was Puerto Rico stole 4 places in both of the competitions.
Yeah, last year, but the last U20, the last U20 that just happened. Actually, let me look at that real quick. But no, I think Costa Rica is, again, part of that group. I think they are really pushing. Look at their team. They made the World Cup. Their team made the World Cup earlier this year. and they showed well. They had that game against France, but again, I think Costa Rica is in that top 8 discussion always. There are tiers there, but I still think what Costa Rica has been doing with their youth program has been great. I think they're one of the better ones that have been able to translate their youth success to their senior success. You see the players moving up from there, and I think that's where some of the players and some of the teams here, if they can start to translate that youth success to the senior level success, it really bodes well for them. A team like Haiti could do very well for that. And I think that's where the difference between like a team like Cuba, who's looked good at points at the youth level, but then have been able to translate that over to the senior level. I think if teams can do that, that bodes well for them. That comes down to also getting the right coaching and that infrastructure going. But ultimately, I think Costa Rica being there, they got to host this. It's unfortunate that that 2 of the 3 countries who had to host only got to see 2 games against their team. I think it would have been much better if they could have got more games there. But Costa Rica, I think, really is showing that they belong closer to that middle of the pack on all levels than outside of it. So I think Costa Rica right now, all power to them. They're doing well. They are a team that technically will cause teams trouble, especially teams who maybe try to go more from a direct highway football strategy, just getting balls in and trying to pressure that way. Costa Rica has the technical ability to pass around, to beat the press with passing, and I think they'll give some teams some trouble. For how long? I don't know. The good thing is at least they have until next year to get ready for this tournament, so they have a few months to prepare, some more friendly, some more camps. But Costa Rica looked good, and I think they are a team. They're one of 2 teams I'm going to, well, actually, they're one of 3 teams, and we'll get to that when we make our predictions later, that I think might be able to cause teams trouble, if not also qualify for the U-17 World Cup that's happening in Port and Dominican Republic next year in November.
All right, all right. So fair enough, fair enough, fair enough. And then we have Puerto Rico. The Puerto Rico tops this group, tough group, with Honduras and Nicaragua. U.S. Virgin Islands finish at the bottom. What you made of the Puerto Rican team? Because the Puerto Rican team, for me, the reason why I love the Puerto Rican team, because a lot of teams I do love, but the reason why I love the Puerto Rican team is the fact that they always try to make sure they use their resources as best as possible. You know, they try to get the best players them to pick for their team, and it's like always the mini United States team. And the fact that I kept seeing it working, and I don't know when it's going to really matriculate in a big team. But anytime it reaches that place, the CONCACAF region is in serious trouble.
It will be, but now it comes down to, can those players now start to develop? Can they hit on a few players, right? They're recruiting well, right? And that's something they've done well. Puerto Rico has done a good job. Same thing as Dominican Republic, Costa Rica to an extent. Honestly, all the CONCACAF teams have looked at the U.S. and said, you're not using that. We're going to use that. And we think we can use it better, right? I don't think you can look at any team in CONCACAF who maybe hasn't tried to recruit or hasn't been successful doing that. Now, I think, like you said, for Puerto Rico, it comes down to when will that translate to the senior level? Because we saw it 2 years ago with the U20s and the U17s, 4th place both times. At this latest U20, they didn't make it out of the group. So are we then assuming that's going to go at some point? And I think they can recruit well, but now how are you now in getting that going, getting them into senior team minutes, getting them playing and whatnot? I think that's going to be the key thing for Puerto Rico. But at this youth level, they're giving these players the showcases that they need. They're playing well. They're getting to a high enough level in this region, but we haven't seen that translate to the senior level. And I think when we're able to start to see pieces and signs of that, I think we'll be really excited for it. They could cause a lot of trouble, but they feel more to me, and that's just my opinion, like a team that looks good at the youth level, but then hasn't been able to always translate that at the senior level. So a bit of a tease in that sense, but I still think they can pull it off. I just need a little bit more from them, both on their pathways, development, and getting a few more friendlies playing that way, because I think getting some more play will actually help them cohesively moving that way.
All right, so guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section if you will see Puerto Rico become a a dominant force in the topper levels of ladies football, because obviously they have been very much consistent at the youth levels at this point. As what we said, they came fourth in two of the out of the three youth levels at the time, and I thought that they actually came third in the youth 15s at one point. No, fourth. They came in the youth 15s, right?
Mm-hmm.
I had to go back and check because they did defeated Jamaica in the final game as well. I remember that game, so I have to check it. But they have always performed, and this is a next opportunity for them to present themselves, and they do the same thing again, which is performed. All right,
Mm-hmm.
and they are going to be booked as one of the final place as well. And then Panama, Jamaica. Panama had a win and a draw against Jamaica. Watch both of these games. What say you based on what you think of this group? Being that it's the two, you gave it a shorter summary of it, but what say you overall?
I think it would have served Jamaica better to have more games. We know that they didn't have enough time preparing. We've heard that refrain before, and it's unfortunate that we've heard that refrain before, but that's just the reality now. That we always expect that they'll come in not prepared, which is unfortunate because I think while Panama is a good side, I feel because I think this group was set up for them to play their last game against each other. And like if we look at what happened at the U20s, when Jamaica played, I want to say El Salvador in their final group game, right? By the time they got to that game, that cohesiveness really helped and pushed. And that was really able to keep them going that way. And I felt that really helped them. I think lacking the additional games really did hurt because you walked in and now it's perform or you're done. And that's really unfortunate. That's very harsh, but that's the reality of not having all the groups in. So I feel that if Jamaica had either a bigger group or more realistically a side that could, or just more time to prepare, I think that would have helped them a lot more. But ultimately, they weren't able to do so. And I think that left them to where they were. That's unfortunate, but that is the result. But I think Jamaica.
Okay, Africans got taken away. So yes, but I will just give my piece and then give Africans this time to return. For me, I've watched both of the games for Jamaica. I thought that they created chances, but the retention of the play was not good enough, and that comes by repetition. And if you're not training, if you don't have enough time, it's almost impossible for you to fulfill that feat. So definitely, Panama looked like the slight better team, and they deserve to do that. Their technical ability was better, and naturally, there no between each other's each other's were better. So I do believe that they deserve to go through because they were the better team. Even though you would say the football was scrappy at times out of all the other teams, but definitely they were the better team and they deserve to go through, to be honest. All right. Yes. So that's there. And then I will leave the final one for Africans, which is Canada. All right. Martin, bless yourself. Thanks for being here. And then we have Mr. J said, I don't know because a lot of girls from the colleges in the US do not continue the professional world of women's football. Well, no, football is on a rise in the ladies' sport. I do believe that a lot of them will find, because the problem is, if you believe that you can't turn it into a profession, like a lucrative profession, you won't do it. But now female football is at 100 million. So it's a lucrative enough profession at this point. You get me? For them to take it on big time. All right. So I think maybe that will change. No, I don't think that will change the way our ladies look at football, because more money coming in and worst of the big success of it right now, they are going to definitely start picking up ladies football at a high level, because you're going to hear transfers start going even higher for ladies, because the demand for ladies football is there. Patrick Riley says, that's just saying it nicely. They weren't good enough. Yeah, but I said Panama was a better team. Yes. Yeah. So anyway, the final group, because they got cut out right there, Africans. Canada, Bermuda, Dominican Republic. It's a good thing they did not show the goal scoring. All right, because it makes no sense that they get so much little points for the games, but the goal scoring was ridiculous. All
Uh,
right, so let me know what's going on. Should you not be participating in the in this part of the thing? And does this prove that top level teams should not be participating with certain teams? What say you Africans? That's your intro to gloat, you know.
here's how I think about this, and this is my entire conversation on this. I think you should be able. I think you should reward success. There's no doubt, but I also think you're going to run into a situation, right? Because moving into this, there are three quote unquote top teams at the youth level, even though there are teams that are closed in on Canada. You'd say USA, Mexico, Canada, those are your top three female sides. And if you put them in this level of competition, well, you'll see them win a game, what, 21-0? Because you'd wonder if you're listening to Drake or not, because they'll just say 21, can we do something for you? I don't know. Here it is. I think ultimately CONCACAF they need to find a balance between rewarding a team to do well, but then also letting them play. Now, what's the good that's going to come of this, right? Because ultimately, does it help if a team gets beat 21-0? Or does it help if a team, because let's look at Canada, for example. If Canada isn't in this group, they're in the final two, and then their first two games, let's say they lose, right? They lose to, say they draw Costa Rica and they draw Puerto Rico, and they lose to Costa Rica 4-3, and then they lose to Puerto Rico 2-1, right? Ultimately, they end up back here, but then the scores it's a tough spot for them to be in. I do think ultimately, I think you should reward a team for being ranked highly, but I think right now you should reward one, because ultimately, like for me in this very meritocracy that I like to live in, this fake one at least, reward the winners from being the best, fine. But then don't be, and this is my issue with CONCACAF overall, don't set up your competition so that they're most blatantly, we don't want this to happen, so we're gonna build it this way. Give If you win the Gold Cup, cool. You automatically go this. I personally think teams who win their continental tournaments should be in the World Cup. That's just how I feel. Because I think if you eliminate one team immediately, you open up the field for more teams to play in consecutively. Because if there's only one team you're doing this for, then you have 7 groups versus just 6 groups. And maybe you spread that out. And then maybe you run into a competition where you have a team that has to play a tough team. Maybe somehow a Haiti ends up with Canada or the US or Mexico. And then now you actually have to see if iron sharpens iron at this youth level. I'd be much more interested in that. Does Canada belong at this level? I think they didn't win second. So that's what the rules are. So that's where they are. But ultimately, I would love to see it in a situation where we reward the winners of competitions. You want to promise more games? Give us 7 groups of 3, maybe 4 teams, play them out, broadcast it properly, and then we'll see who emerges from there. Reward the team that wins because they deserve to be rewarded, and then go from there. But yeah, that's in a nutshell how I feel about it, because ultimately CONCACAF does CONCACAF things, and though sometimes my team benefits from it, it still bothers me. And I have no issue with
Okay.
saying that.
Okay, so those are the 6 teams that will be going on to face Mexico and United States, which was the 2 highest ranked teams
Yeah.
based off how they have performed. All right, and as you said, CONCACAF is CONCACAF. So you have El Salvador, Haiti, Costa Rica, Puerto Rico, Panama, and Canada. So people inside the chat, let me know who you think can do something against the next top 2, and then we can move on to the other stories, because we have Herdman that we want to talk about a little. Then we go to the Nations League, because the Nations League is the hot topic at this point. All right,
Yes.
so let me give some people some big up right here. Know yourself, bless up yourself. Thanks very much for being here. Massive respect. And Kevin Jones, thanks yet again for the support right here. So John Herdman left Canada. Can you enlighten us on what really took place and how it's going to really affect the Canadian team, if at all? Because obviously some people like myself say that you guys have serious talent, and the gap in between the gap between 1, 2, 3 is it maybe it's not so wide, but 1, 2, 3, 4 because I'm putting Panama at 4 based on the fact that they have a good gelled system. Maybe they don't have the players as other countries, i.e. Jamaica, but what they are playing at this point is something that Jamaica can't play or don't reach at that level as yet. You get me?
Yeah.
So we have to put them at 4th now. So what say you? Oh, destructive is this thing, or you think it's a good thing? What's up? What's the vibe inside Canada?
I think there's two vibes if you listen to fans, and some people. I mean, whenever someone leaves, you always hear the laundry, right? So it's like when someone you have a relationship breaks down, and all of a sudden you start to hear, actually, this person never cleaned his room. They were never good to me anyways, and then blah blah blah. So all that stuff comes out. I think there's two camps of people. There's the camp of people that say this should have happened, or maybe thought this was going to happen at some point. So maybe you'd rather have it now versus later on, closer to the World Cup. And there's the group that's saying this is all because of the issues with the federation. This is the issues with the money. This is all these things, and we are doomed. We will never have any good, nice things. We'll never be able to shop at good restaurants again. All exaggerated takes from what side? For me, look, I think you can. There's a real possibility, right? Someone asked Josh JJDTV was asking on Twitter the other day, how do you rate his tenure? I saw this take for a lot of people, and I think that is fair. Where the man could do no wrong, and I think in my mind I say it this way: Herdman was a coach who could do no wrong, and couldn't get in his way until he did, and then he couldn't get out of his way sometimes. And I think so for that standpoint, leading up to the World Cup, I think most people would have looked and said he can do no wrong. World Cup, there's the press conference post the Belgium game going into the Croatia game, rubbed a lot of people away. The performance against Nations League final rubbed a lot of fans the wrong way. And then ultimately, when you looked and saw, okay, what about looking at Gold Cup? That rubbed a few people the wrong in terms of players they could have brought in, didn't bring in for whatever reason. We'll never know. Is it as bad as it seems? No, but it's not ideal either. I think this job is intriguing because ultimately it's a guaranteed spot at the World Cup, and you have that you can dangle in front of people. Same thing that the US can do, same thing that Mexico can do. And you do have a decently talented squad. So I think it's a lot better. Do I think now Canada's going to turn around and call Carlos Ancelotti and say, hey, come coach Canada? No, I don't think that's going to happen. But I don't also think that the level of coach that they'll bring in is going to be just, we can only afford Luis Fernando Suarez's second cousin because that's all that we can afford with it. I think there is appeal with this position. And I think they can find something, but they have to be wise. Thankfully, we won't run into a USMNT situation where Herdman leaves, and then a year later, Herdman comes back as the coach. If that were to happen, I think that looks bad on everyone's part. And I don't think that's going to happen. So I think the program is in an interesting spot. It's not the worst spot, but it's certainly not the best either. So I think they have a year. I think ideally for me, if I'm looking at timelines, you'd love to at least have a coach in before, if they're able to qualify for Copa America, if you can get a coach by then. So that way you have Copa America, you can evaluate the team against top competition, and then you have another year, 2 years to prepare for the World Cup after that. I think that would be the ideal situation. If you're able to find a coach by that, you're able to interview people fine, and then go from there. Now, what that does that concerns me is now you essentially have a hiring freeze, right? You can't really recruit duels. And maybe I'm too harsh with this. I just saw the US finish recruiting Florian Balogun with the assistant to the assistant coach. So I think that should be doable. I think they should still be able to recruit. But there's also the reality, which is, are they able to do that? What value is it to recruit someone and then you have a different coach in a little bit of time, different philosophy and whatnot. So they're kind of stuck in this pause mode where they have a friendly, they can evaluate some players, maybe they can see some players coming into the system they can familiarize with from a talent gelling standpoint until they find a coach and move forward. But it doesn't help that they only have, it's a blessing and the curse that they only have the one friendly coming up. It's a blessing because, okay, it's one time to get all the boys together, but it's also a curse because now you're missing opportunities where maybe instead of your coach, you can have your players trying to recruit and get players to switch over and get ready for it. The appeal for the World Cup will always be there. There's no doubt about that. But now it's very tough to see it working there. And if you lose a year's worth of recruiting, that hurts you in terms of the players that you develop. Now, maybe there are players that they will continue to develop on a homegrown level, but at some point, potential has to realize itself versus continue to wait for players to go in. And that's, I think, where we're in. So we're in a bit of a holding pattern. So it sucks. It's not the worst case scenario, but it's neither the best case scenario either. From the outside looking in, JD, what does it look like for you?
For me, I do see you guys have a good squad at this point, comparative to what we have in the CONCACAF. So it was tough when I heard that he's leaving. So, but obviously you have explained a lot of things to explain the problems that the Canadian Federation have been and a coach would have as well. But at this point, I do believe that the squad quality is good. It's just how far someone can come in and implement a strategy that can improve them and take them to a next level, or at least don't let them drop off. And I think they're going to be okay because the quality that they have, I do think, even though we are improving in the CONCACAF region, we're not improving so fast for that gap with them after final manager will arm them that much. I think it's going to be still good enough because they are that good enough at this point, if they can get the right manager to come in and just steady the ship instant. But if they do let it drag out too long, obviously, it's going to be a problem. But for now, for the next 3 months, I don't think it's going to be a problem. They are a top team for a reason. And I thought that they were legitimate, a top team. You understand me? In the region. So I have no worries for now until the next 2 months, to be honest.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. And again, like we can look at it from the standpoint of everything is crashing, which I don't think it is, but it's not ideal when you look at it from the standpoint of, okay, a coach who has a guaranteed World Cup spot, right, and 4 years to prepare for that chose something else. Now, you could also argue he's going from one tough situation to a tougher situation, which is Toronto FC. So he's not exactly leaving this for a bed of roses. It's the same thorns. It just happens to be down the road. But ultimately, I think it does make you think about it. It doesn't mean that everything is all doom and gloom, nor is it the greatest thing ever. I think there's definitely opportunity there. But again, as time progresses, that's when we can evaluate. In a week's time, if they announce a coach, you ask yourself, okay, that was quick, but you have a coach, let's evaluate. And if a year and a half's time, they're still looking for a coach, then you really start to question and say, okay, shouldn't we have had one by now, please? And thank you. Because at that point, then it's a bit more of a concern. But for me right now, it's a wait and see. I do wonder what this now means for, again, recruitment, for finding players, especially because now what's the identity? What's the system of the team, right? One of Herdman's things that he liked to do was he was very fluid with his strategies, which worked in like a 3-game spat. But when teams can prepare for you, it doesn't necessarily always work. So for me, it's what does this mean? Because I've always had this argument in terms of players that I think formation-wise, how Canada plays restricts sometimes a bit of the talent that's available to them. Because if you're going to play with a 3-5-2 for the most part, right, that essentially cuts out a lot of your winger depth because your wing backs are either wingers, fullbacks who've played winger long enough, or vice versa. So again, players like Tejon Buchanan, Alfonso Davies, and you have like your Richie Reyes, and then players like Sam Adekugbe behind them. But if you play a different formation, that I think that changes the dynamic of how your roster is constructed. So instead of your winger depth, maybe that grows. Maybe your fullback depth grows a little bit more. Maybe your midfield depth shrinks a little bit, but then now your striker depth has to be a little bit more precise. But those are the conversations I've always wondered in terms of what that. And I think that's probably the most curious thing I'm looking at with a different set of eyes looking at the pool. How do they see it? And does that ultimately mean, okay, we have the talent to play a 4-3-3 versus a 3-5-2 or a 3-4-3, vice versa, etc.? How does that change recruiting, right? Do we now need, does it mean, does a player like Luka Koleosha, who's playing at Burnley right now, is he more of a priority because you need that outside, that winger outside depth? Do players like Theo Corbinu, who's finally getting playing time, is he able now to play? Will Ike Ugbo play on a pitch that isn't frozen or flooded at some point? These are the questions I have, right? But I think ultimately that's the big question. How does a new coach walk in and say, okay, we're going to change this, and now how does this affect the players selected, but then also the formation and the overall system that he wants to implement? Because that'll take time to put into. And so for me, that's the most curious thing, because I do wonder. I've always said out loud, I think the type of players that are available don't fit the type of style that we play. And I think if we change that, maybe we'll actually allow ourselves to see a better version of Canada. Because to go on a tangent, the best version of Canada I saw, JD, was the game that they played in Mexico. Right? Not the Belgium game, but the Mexico game for me, where they at Azteca, where they drew 1-1, where they played effectively a 4-2-3-1 with Buchanan and Davies as your wingers, Jonathan David as your 9, Osorio as your 10, and then you just had Adekubi and then Larea as your fullbacks. The overlaps that they were creating, playing fluid like that was the best version of them that I've seen. But we haven't seen them go back that, because you have 2 informed strikers, because you want to add more players into the midfield, and you want to have a back 3, which means you're only going to have room for 2 wingbacks. I think those are things for me that I've always looked back and said, I feel that that's the best version of Canada. And if you do that, then maybe you permanently put a player like Alphonso Davies as a fullback. But then now that allows you to put more players up who can be wingers and can be more effective moving up the pitch versus putting him up further up the pitch and allowing, and now your fullback depth looks a little bit more scarce in that standpoint. But those are just questions, thoughts. It's all there. But yeah.
All right, so we're pretty much getting it, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. If you think that John Herdman, which is the coach and the backbone, at least on the fairy tale story for Canada, left the actual spot of the head coach. Let me know if you think that this is a bad thing or a good thing on the rerun. Let me go through the chat to give some people some big up. We have number 1 guy says blessings to you. Drew Russ in the host as well, massive respect. Owen in the host as well. John Powell in the host. And Know Yourself says, if it's a higher caliber player, the coach won't really matter. I think Africans. I think coaches matter, even if it's higher. Worst if it's higher caliber player, and if you have lower caliber players working with, because you have to find the right balance to let them flood. But let me continue right here. We'll get back to the conversation. As you come in, guys, please do hit the like button, share, and subscribe. We had a lot of topics, and this is going to be a weekly thing. At least we had started it, but we're going to bring it back. All right. Yes, Warren, Mikey Ballin, thanks for being here, says, welcome back, Africans. First in a long time. Okay, my goodness. Brian Burke, bless yourself. Thanks for being here. Colin Quest and Laughing After Canada. Any idea who is going to be the replacement? We don't know as yet. But we are going to keep it up and running, so you will get information, because we are running out of time and we have to rush over into the Nations League. It's a lot of work, and obviously we are trying to put everything in one. So just give us some credit, all right? So anyways, the Nations League, this is how it sits, similar to the girls as well. Nations League, you have 2 groups in League A, which is Group A and Group B of 6. 2 teams advances from each group. Group A You have Panama, Curacao, Guatemala, El Salvador, Martinique, and Trinidad and Tobago. And then you have Group B, Jamaica, Honduras, Cuba, Haiti, Suriname, Grenada. All right, so let me start with Group A, and then in Group B now, we're going to give you the squads for those teams, and we're going to go deep dive in those as well. All right, so for Group A, Africans, what say you? And obviously, you gave your thoughts on how it does not look good for CONCACAF based on these new metrics that they're setting up. So deep dive a little bit in it and give me your thoughts in this group. And persons, let me know your thoughts in Group A, who you think will advance, and what you made of the new rules coming from CONCACAF. Continue, Africans.
I don't understand why they couldn't just do this and everyone. There's 5 groups. Okay, so to repeat what I said earlier, I think this makes no sense. It makes no sense whatsoever. If you're that concerned, if CONCACAF was that concerned with giving teams and making sure they have 4 teams available to play other teams, what they could have easily done is just had 4 groups of 3. Every team plays each other twice. One window, you go, let's go hypothetical. Panama, Curacao, Guatemala. One window, it's the Panama Curacao Derby. The next window, you try to you get the other ones to go through, or you mix and match, play them ultimately, and then your winning team plays New Mexico. Next triplet plays Panama. Next triplet plays USA. Next triplet plays Canada. That would have made much more sense. But this is CONCACAF, and they have to rewrite the formula so that it makes sense. But 2 + 2 always equals 4 for whatever reason. Based off of this long-winded statement, looking at this group of 6, I think your top 2 should be, on paper, it should be Panama moving through. And my second team that I think, I want to give Guatemala credit for a great run they had. I really do. El Salvador, we're starting to ask ourselves, I think, was the highest that did they hit their ceiling with World Cup qualifiers? I'm going to say it. I think it's going to be Martinique. I think Martinique's going to do it. I think it's going to be Panama and Martinique, honestly.
Okay. For me, I definitely think, based on what we saw, Panama should be the victor of this group. Should be. And you have to always do your calculation to see who is playing who. Because remember, it's 6 teams, but they only play 3 teams and 1 double. So you can easily look at who is playing the weakest in the double and who you think has the highest potential that can beat anybody. And then more likely they will be the winner. So I would say Panama would be the winner here. And Curacao seems to be struggling to score goals. They have not conceded so much aside from Argentina. So, and I'm still waiting on something from Curacao. But what Guatemala showed to me, they are a good team, right? They are a good team. They presses well. Their level of football is high level. So Martinique, El Salvador, and Trinidad. I think Trinidad will cause some problems, but I am very sorry. I don't see Trinidad advancing, because the pace of how Guatemala plays and El Salvador, Martinique, I think Trinidad will have some problems. So I will Martinique. You know what I'm gonna say? Guatemala, Panama. Panama, I'm going with. Guatemala, Panama, I'm going with. I'm going to say Guatemala, Panama, but I would not be shocked if I do see Martinique, Panama going through. But I think someone going through with Panama. All right? Yes.
Yeah, JD, yes. I think my car will drive with the proper fuel. I agree, JD. My car will drive with the proper fuel. If someone will go with Panama, of course. No, but that's the tough thing, because I want to give Guatemala credit for the run, and I think they can still build. Maybe Guatemala is this cycle's version of El Salvador, where they're the team that is like, maybe they can do it. But El Salvador, I feel that unless they're able to get some more players coming in, I think they may have hit their ceiling. they may have hit their ceiling potentially, which now makes it interesting. Now it's either one of those two teams. So we'll see what happens with it. Also, fun pick. Hugo Perez for Canadian coach. That's one of my dark horses. I'll just say it now. But yeah, let's get to this Group B.
Let me just get through the comments then, because people send in their comments. All right, so Lord for a Reason says Group A is group of death. Lord of mercy. I think both of these groups are tough, but I want to say I agree with you that the 6 teams in the next group are games that you are going to say that any strategy coming from teams, because even though I don't rate Trinidad team so highly, I do believe that when they play out, they can offer something different, because when they played out against Jamaica, they look completely different. And maybe if they started that game like that, they maybe cause Jamaica more problems. Who knows? So we have to wait and see what they're going to bring for the next round. But one thing I can say, it sets up for very good games, at least in the next group. At least in the next group. Noisa said Panama, El Salvador. Going to be tough for El Salvador to make it through. Lee Young says Panama and Martinique will advance. That's what I said first. But who knows? Curacao and Panama to advance. Curacao started good, but Curacao faded off over the last 2 years, maybe because of the coronavirus situation, and they never get to go to the Gold Cup. So it kind of cost them some games to make themselves in a much more drilled team. So a lot of things cost them over time. Panama and Guatemala, I can see a surprise happening. I think it's not a surprise if anyone else go through. Martinique, TNT and Panama to advance. Brian Burke, I think it's going to be tough for TNT to advance. Hey, Africans, I don't want you agreeing with me. Change your answer? What? JD knows what's up. Prediction on point. Thank you, Judgmental Deity. Jason Ferran in the house. Big up. Devon Smith, how you doing, man? Hope all is well. JD, Trinidad calling up some Crystal Palace and Arsenal youths to play. Wow. Nice. I need to look at their roster as well. All right. So we are going to skip over before we come back to this group. We're going to give you all of the players them for the 3 teams that we normally talk about on this channel, which is Jamaica, Suriname, and Haiti. So Suriname, this is the natural squad. Keeper, Wanahan, Joey Regaven, and Ishan Court. Those are the 3 keepers. I do believe that's the best they can select at this point. Regeva seems to be getting better. Wanahan seems to still be prone to an error right there. Hanvals, Rictus, which is pretty much wingers. All right, Rictus, Shaquille, Cairo, Gleaflev later, Yannick Wildscott, Florian Yusufson, and Mitchell Tibrade. So the forward slash wingers, those are the forward slash wingers that they have. Midfielders, Diego Bessiswar, Daraso Class, Tajdan Chiri, Rensky, EDP, which is a new addition. Rosella Vlata added in midfield. And then you have for the defenders, Dameli Dankalo, Sean Kleiber back in it. And you have backboard, Ledam, Malone, Mighty Abena, Shaquille Penna, Stefan Denzel, and Kenneth Paul. You have a few out as well, because you have a few out as well. All right, but you have Kleiber coming in. So that is good. Kleiber can cement the right back spot. Or maybe you could see a change of shape, because they have added, as what we saw here, pretty much 9 defenders. 9 defenders they have added to this list. So that tells me you might see much more solidity for our build-up from back, deeper in numbers. So let's see how it works out. So what is your first look at the Suriname squad? Give me a first impression.
I mean, it's a nice squad again. I think I'm waiting to see if that goalkeeping recruitment, eventually they do need to start that transition. But I think right now for what they have, I I think it's a good squad. I think at some point now for Suriname, it was what I was saying before the Gold Cup about them and Curacao. At some point, they need to now start getting results, right? They can't be Dippin' Dots. They can't be the team of the future, but then have a hot summer of 98 and nothing else. Sorry on the 98 call. But ultimately, I need them to start getting results. I think if they were somehow able to come in, that would be great. I don't think it's going to be possible in this group specifically. Not impossible, but I think that the pathway is tough. But for Suriname specifically, I need them to start giving me results. Right? We can't keep talking about them as if they're an up and coming team and all they have is a bunch of up and coming disappointments. I need some results for them for us to keep on talking about them as a team that is up for the future and could do some things in CONCACAF. Because if they can't do it now, when they have the opportunity to now qualify for a World Cup, when is it going to come? This may be the best version of this team that they've assembled, but now you have to see results. Nothing else matters for me.
All right, I do agree with you right there. So this is for Suriname, and Suriname should be playing Grenada, Cuba, and I think Haiti. I'm going to make sure I recheck to be sure. I think it's Haiti they do play, but let me give it to you. For sure, yes, but they do play Grenada twice. All right, so this is a given for Suriname to be in there as one of the favorites to advance. All right, because if they do win their 2 games against Grenada, that puts them on 6 points. All right, yes, they do have Cuba, Grenada. All right, Cuba, Grenada first, and then Haiti, and then Grenada again. So even though we saw the Cuban team and the Cuban team looks good, based on what Suriname has, they should be the favorites in 3 of the 4 games that they do come in. So I think this is the moment for them. They have to deliver at least 7 points out of these 4 games, or else people will look at them different because they have to get a win, two wins and at least a draw against Cuba, being that Cuba is playing a little bit better. But Grenada, they should be winning against Grenada based on the squad that they do have right here. We heard, where is Charles Lebeka? He was not in the selection right here. So I guess maybe he's busy with his club and stuff. All right, so maybe he will be at the next one. But they did add good personals there. Joseph Son, always turn up for Suriname. Mitchell Tefred, he needs more game time in the team. Wild Scott seems to be a solid personnel for Suriname as well. He came in and he looked like he should have started. The Gleofi later is the Suriname forward for Suriname itself, and Shaquille Cairo will add to it, and Rictus is one of the upcoming personnel from inside the country as well. So they do have forward player there. I think their forward force is okay. I think it's good when you don't have the flurry of forward players, because sometimes they get caught up in that and it causes more problems. I think what they're doing at the back with the defensive side, where I saw they had problems over the left back and right back side, adding Sean Kleiber in and the defensive Denzel, I think this might be the kickstart for them. I think they might just turn up and win both games. I actually think they might win both games. Based on this squad, but I would love to see how they do the first game, and then I will be more confident in the second game. So the good thing is they do have Grenada first. They have Grenada first and then Cuba after. So we will get a chance to see them against Grenada. Then we can properly judge. Sean Bay said he's injured. All right, Sandra, bless of yourself. Thanks for being here. Massive respect. TTFA never sack Angus. Yes, they hired him back as well. Any new dual nuts? I think you have a few. We have what? A few. IDP is on it. I think it's the first time he's here. Daraso class came in the last time, so he's fairly new. Backboard is fairly new in the team itself. Cairo should be new as well. Yeah, so that's pretty much about it. Denzel is new. Obviously, Denzel is popular, so you might believe that he's not new, but he's new nonetheless. All right, yes. Please have some smelling salt and and for Sean B, Suriname will fail miserably. Well, tell you what, we are going to be here next week to talk about it as well. So that is for Suriname. They have a good squad for the first 2 games. We will deep dive in it, and we will cover all of these games in the coming week. So make sure you tune in on these channels, subscribe, because we're going to give you good coverage and detailed analysis on all of the players. So that is for Suriname. So this is what Suriname has, guys. Lee Young said they're gonna struggle miserably. So let me pull up the group for you. Let me pull up the group for you so you can understand why we're talking separate, because it's one group, but we have to talk separate as to how we evaluate the thing. Because even though they are in the same group, they are not facing each other. So look at what we see. We have right here now. We have Jamaica, Honduras, Cuba, Haiti, Suriname, Grenada. Based on what we have just explained, we're going to go to Jamaica and Haiti's lineup very soon, but we're just trying to show you the group right here. Who you actually think winning this group? Or you want me to go through both rosters first? You want me to
go through all the rosters? Go through the rosters.
So
give us the lineups.
Look at this, guys. Look at this at this point. Keep it together. We're gonna go through the rest of the rosters, which is the Jamaica and Haiti's roster for you. All right. Yes, because this is definitely getting spicy. I am telling you. Because CONCACAF again pull off something. I can't understand these people. All right. So this is for Haiti. I think you have Placide is back in goal for them. Big. I think they missed him big time. All right, you have Pierre, Alexandre Pierre. He played well in the final game against Mexico, right? It turned out to be good, but he still had a mistake in him, could cause some problem. And you have Innocent as well to finish off the goalkeepers. Then we're going to move up to the defenders. You have Ricardo Ade, which is the captain. You have Arcos, their right back, Alex Christian, Steven Seance, Garvin, and you have Alexis, you have Duke, and you have Jean Kelvin. Francois Delis are, yes, because I am almost turning into French and Africans.
Almost.
So you wonder who I'm getting the pronunciation. Martin in to finish the defenders. Then in midfield, you have Carlfred Saint, and then you have Danley, Jean, Jacques, and you have Darlus and Jeppy to finish that one off. And their forward line is Deedson, Lomia, Roberto, and you have Pera, and you have Dokan Nazon right there, and you have Prona, and you have Derek Etienne, very skilled player. Atlanta United, and you have Jero, Jean, and Shania Bagalain to finish off their lineup. So what you make of this one?
Haiti to me is very similar to a team we'll talk about later, where I see the attacking, I see the defense, the goalie being back will help. Midfield, please and thank you, is where I will evaluate the future of this team. I think Haiti's matchups will really determine how they do. They have Jamaica twice, which doesn't make it any easier. But that probably means you're playing one game in Jamaica and one game in Dominican Republic, if not in somewhere in southern Florida. If someone can confirm where those games will be, that would be great. But I think Haiti has a squad that attacking.
We know that one will be in Jamaica.
That's all we know. That's all we know. But we know, similar to the other teams, similar to Jamaica, I'll say this: you know that they're going to offer you attacking prowess. It's just that middle part of the pitch that I'm still waiting to shore up a little bit for them. You know they're going to give chances. They'll create opportunities. They're similar to their women's team, where they'll get chances, but like we saw in the Gold Cup, like we saw at the World Cup, how many will hit the frame when they need to, right? And that's becoming, at least, it's a national identity, but that's the thing. So for Haiti's men's team, if they can control the midfield a little bit better, it doesn't mean that they have to play tiki-taka football all the time, but they just need to be able to progress it well enough that they can dictate. Because when we talk midfield, that's the thing that I think that people miss. It's not about just you want to play passing football. It's controlling the pace of the game, playing at the pace that you want to. If you play highway football all the time, it's a very lower percentages in terms of getting it. So if you have a bit of control in the midfield, that allows you to at least dictate the pace of how the game is going to be played. If you want to play fast pace, by all means do so. If you want to play slow pace, by all means do so. But at least you give yourself a chance because you can try to dictate the pace of the game. So when I say midfield, that's what I mean. I don't just mean we want this to be Spain 2008 to 2012, but it means being able to dictate the pace of how you want this game to be played and choosing that. Now, ultimately, maybe that is how they want to play. I think Haiti does have the players to do well. I think, though, more cases than not, they are like the right now, based off the team they have to play twice. I think they're a little bit behind in terms of Jamaica, but they'll still give them problems if Jamaica isn't careful. So I think Haiti could make it out of this group, but I think one of those games will be close. And I think the other one will not be. And I hope, and so I'm hoping.
Okay, shocking from Africans. Oh God, Jamaicans them start beating the chat.
I think one of the games will be close. I think maybe their first matchup will be close, and I don't think the second matchup will be. That's just all right. How I see it.
All right. So for me, their squad looked okay, good attack. Very good. I agree with you. I think I'm looking to see how they deal with the midfield. But what I've realized, they did well against Qatar, right? With their build-up and transition play. They looked well when they dropped Etienne. Etienne flowed from inside attacking midfield to the left wing. And they looked definitely good. Duncan, Nazan, and Pearl always look solid. I think they're going to be problematic. They are a better transition team than Jamaica. I think Jamaica is one of the worst transition teams. Even the coach said so. The only thing is saving us is because we have good players. I am just waiting to see Jamaica play some true football, because anytime that happens, then Jamaica will be in the top 4, sure. But the transition football is not good. I am very sorry, people. It is not good. So even though I think Jamaica squad is better than Haiti's squad, I still believe that because we don't fix those things, it makes games naturally closer than what they should be. Because the squad that we have should be rating with the topper teams them. But because of the way we play, it draw we down back to the Guatemalas, the Haiti, the all of those teams. It brought us back down to.
Okay.
And that is the biggest problem, I think, with Jamaica. And I think we're going to see the same thing again. And that is what the coach trying to fix. That's what he said out of his own mouth. So you don't have to listen to me. Because I've been telling you the longest time, but you guys never listen to me. Well, he's telling you that they're struggling to keep possession of the ball, but they're trying to be defensively solid first. Then in the future, they're going to try and keep possession of the ball. I think we should be trying to do everything at once, because we're not playing with kids. We're playing with big players that can do everything at once. So you should be defensively solid and also keep possession of the damn ball. You understand me? I don't know why we have to tiptoe into what we're doing. You understand me? So that is my biggest gripe that I do have. I think the coach is trying to approach things too slow with the quality of the players that we do have. I don't know if people would agree with me, but that is my stance on it. And I think that's why these games are going to be more battle games for me. I think it's going to be tough as well. And to be honest, I can't call it, I have to see the first game before I can call who is going to go through, if it's Jamaica or Haiti. But because I have a feeling that it's Jamaica or Haiti going through. You understand me? But I don't see both of them going through because of how the group sets up. I don't see both of them going through, which is a shame, because I think if they had avoided each other or played each other once, then I see both of them going through. You understand me? Because they are two good teams. Yes, but their roster looks good, to be honest. And then now I will just go straight into the Jamaica's roster right here. Then we go back as well. Let me take some of the comments. Hercules, how you doing, man? Said, JD, how are you? I am very much well, man. How are you doing? Hope all is well. Josh said, JD, Suriname should try and get Gullit, son, Maxim. Okay, nice. All right. Here they have a midfielder that just signed with Wolverhampton in the coming October. Yeah, well, it is what it is. You know, they have good players and they play good football. I thought club was Violet AC. Okay. Neymar is playing in DR. Yeah, but Violet, I think Violet has some problems, you know. JD, the Triple C going on. Robin Hood won their first game against Cibo. They will play in Jamaica against the man. They're gonna play up against two of those teams. We are collecting information as it goes, Sean. Yeah. Robin Hood, congratulations to them on winning the Caribbean Shield, and they are coming in the tournament. And even though they are coming up, they are not a team to play with. All right. Yes. So this is the Jamaican Rasta people. Andre Blake, Jamal Wade, Cannabis Clark. I have no problem with the goalkeeping department. Damian Lowe, Tavon Gray, Ethan Pinnock, Amari Bell, Deshaun Bernard, Dexter Lambakisa, Adrian Mariappa, Greg Lee. I have no problem still. I still want to know much more about Tavon Gray, to be honest, but I will not kill myself over it. Midfield, Casey Palmer, Joel Latibodier, Daniel Johnson, Kevin Lambert, Bobby Reed. And then the forward lineup, you have Liam Bailey, Michael Antonio, Damara Gray, Dujan Richards, Corey Burke, Shamar Nicholson, and Ronaldo Cephas. All right. So what you made of this lineup, Africans, what you made of this roster, and what should be expected from this roster?
Well, this is very much similar to the Gold Cup roster, correct? How many changes? Like, I don't think Cephas was there or Gray was there, right? Tevon. Those two the only additions?
Yeah, those two are new. Yes, Greg Lee is also new. And Casey Palmer is new. Greg Lee played in the team before. Casey Palmer came to play, but something happened. And what I heard, I prefer not to repeat because I don't have the proof. Yeah, but some dodgy thing happened, and that's why he never came back the last time. So more likely we have. I'm hoping. All right. So he's here, and he's new.
No, that's good. It's nice to see Greg Lay back. I think he was one of Jamaica's better players during World Cup qualifiers. He was a bright spot in a lot of the games. And so for me, I think Jamaica has to walk into this thinking. They can't assume. They have to be going into this thinking. They have to be. Jamaica has the quality right now that they have to be thinking 9. Yes, I know Haiti will challenge them. Haiti will probably steal 2 points from them. But Jamaica has to be walking in this thinking 9 and give us whoever you want in the top 4. Give us, doesn't even matter who. Give us the U.S. again. We'll take them. That's how Jamaica has to be thinking. Because they have the quality on the pitch there. They have the quality on paper. They're not on the pitch. What we saw on the pitch, we saw encouraging things. I think also the point you made about them progressing, that's always a conversation with international football, because ultimately you want to keep your strategy simple enough that you can just let your players play and let their instincts kind of take over. And then with more camps, more friendlies, that familiarity starts to build in. If you want to build it, which is, I think, one of the reasons why, to take a step back from these conversations, I think that's one of the reasons why when people look at, say, coaches like Berhalter with some of his coaching tactics and philosophy with the States, I think most people feel that if you keep it more simple, you allow the players and the talent that you have to really shine out a little bit more. So I think for Jamaica, keeping this simple enough where they can let the talent take over and play, I think would really help. A 4-2-4 won't. A 4-2-4 at this level, I think Haiti will punish you against a 4-2-4. So again, with Jamaica, tell me if you've heard this before, something in the midfield. Can we get something in the midfield? That's going to be the question for how you want to play that. If he goes with a 4-2-4, that could be the answer. I still think a 4-3-3 might be the best formation for Jamaica moving forward. And specifically trying to put a player, putting both, and this is where it could get crazy, but putting both Bobby Reed and then a player like, I know he is a winger by trade, but giving him the freedom to move in and out. A player like Leon Bailey in and out as a dual 8 could be crazy, I know. or going dual 6s and 1/8 or a 6 and 2/8. I think a 4-3-3 is what suits the actual talent that Jamaica has moving forward. And then that way you can play around with where you want players. So it could look more like a 4-1-4-1 or a 4-3-3. I think that would suit Jamaica better, but they need to be walking into this. I think they have the talent on paper to think they can leave here with 9 points. And some of them may be struggles, but they should be coming with 9 points coming out of this and saying, bring on Mexico. We want revenge. We want our pound of flesh for that. We think we can beat Canada. We think we can beat Costa Rica. Give us them too. USA, fine. We'll take them as well. I think Jamaica needs to be walking with that confidence because they do have the talent on paper to do so.
All right. So let me see how I would look at it then. Based on the top level, because you went through the qualifiers, which is fair, but you went to the top level to say that they should be coming up against the United States and say that they have the equal to match them. I wouldn't say so. I think we have good players, but I don't think we reached that echelon as yet.
I don't think so either.
Believe that we are a little bit off. We're a little bit off in midfield. Defensive line, I can say Ethan Pinnock can match up with anyone, to be honest. Then in Ethan Pinnock, that's the first one, and then after it's a drop off. Everyone else, they are good, but Ethan Pinnock is the first one you're looking for. In midfield, to be honest, Bobby Reed, KC Palmer, that's the first year. You're going to stop there. And then the forward line, you could go now, Damari Gray, Mikel Antonio. If Liam Bailey feels good, he delivers. But sometimes, not majority of the times in Jamaica shirt, Liam Bailey seems to be sick. So hopefully he's okay. But because he seems to be okay for Aston Villa for the last couple of weeks. So I would like for him to be okay coming back in the national team. So we have players. And in the qualifiers, I would agree with you. But when we come out of the qualifiers, if we come out of the qualifiers, I don't think it's a walk in the park or we can match up with anybody. I don't believe so because we proved when we go to the second string United States team, they were better than us on the day. The Mexico team could have added a few more bodies to make their full squad, and they were better than us as well on the day. You understand me? We saw Panama, and Panama look like they're better than us as well. We played Guatemala, and Guatemala looked like they're better than us on the field, even though we have the better players on the field as well. So I do believe that we have quality. I agree with you 100%. But I don't think we have so much quality, or either the formation stifling some of the qualities or something, but I don't see it as we're seeing it on the names. And that's what I want. I want to see it on the field for me to start believing that we should be cemented in the top 3. I don't see it as yet.
Fair.
So I would hope people help me because I think I assessed that properly. But we have top players. I would agree with that. But I don't know how far we push it from the top players then. That's all I'm waiting on.
I think I agree with that.
Let me know.
And
guys.
Yeah, and I agree with you, JD, which is why I said they need to. I think they can walk in thinking that. Now, are they that? I agree with you. I don't think they're there yet. You have to, again, it's the same conversation with like what I would say with Canada, right? Canada now has to prove they're a top 3 in this region, right? They have to reach a level. Now they have to prove, they have to maintain and sustain it, right? Jamaica, I think, can walk in thinking they can be that, but now you have to prove it ultimately, right? And their first shot and their first chance.
Well said. That's what I would say.
And their first chances that they had, again, Mexico wasn't close. The U.S. game, you could say their one penalty or the second half would have happened regardless. So that game would have been drawn regardless if he scores a penalty or not. Guatemala, you can say that as well, right? You can say, okay, Guatemala's a better team, but now we've seen something from them. Now, can you replicate that? And I think for Jamaica, I think that's the key thing. For me, evaluating them, I saw something at the Gold Cup. Can you now at least stay at the level? Can you? And to me, stay at the level means when you look, you made the semifinals, which means whether you think the Gold Cup is a legitimate competition or not, it's a continental trophy. You can say, okay, based off of this, we are one of the 4 best teams. Therefore, If we were a semifinalist team at the Gold Cup, we should be able to look at this and say, we should get. I don't think that they will, but they should be walking into this thinking and preparing as if they will get the job done. Not that they're overlooking teams, but they have to prepare to come in with it. If they come in with that same energy, that same focus, I think that will go further for me to show that, okay, this team deserves to be where they are and where they're headed towards. There may not be top 4 yet, but there are 6 with a bullet going up. And that's for me. So just to clarify that for you just a little bit.
All right. All right, so let me just go to Lee Young said we should, and guys, we have 85 people here. Please do hit the like button. Get us to 100 on the show, whether or not you don't like it or whatever. Maybe you like the next series when we are talking about something else. But to keep the series going, just get it to 100 and share the video around. Subscribe if you can. Get us to 11,000. All right, so Lee Young says we should have never gotten rid of Paul. His philosophy on football had us playing wonderful, and we should have been further along. I agree, I agree on that, It's just because he had this mad metrics talking about the 7, that he wants 7 young players, and this fight to try find as much players that comes from inside the country for reasons I don't know, that like you're trying to fight fully develop something that maybe not there and wasting time and stuff. I don't like it. I honestly believe that clubs should be developing their damn players. Yeah. I don't believe that coaches need to come and spoon feed people that are you're going to waste 4 years on, and then majority of them don't work out. And then you stall the national team for that. And I think that is the biggest pressure from all of the coaches. You get me? And that's what I thought reach Paul. If he had stuck to his own guns, he would have done better because he had a good system. And if he puts proper people in it, they're going to do their jobs. Garth, bless up. Massive respect. Thanks for being here. Jura said, I agree with you, JD. I feel everyone else but Guatemala is better than us. No, but I never said Guatemala is better than us as in the players, But I'm saying Guatemala played better than Jamaica on the day as well. And the coach said it out of his mouth. I said it first, and then he came in the press conference and said they were better than us. And if we play anything like that against Mexico, we have no chance. And you know what we did? We went out there and tried the same thing against Mexico, and we never had a chance. You understand me? So the coach was honest right there. So I never said the personnels were better than us, jurors. I don't believe that. And I don't even believe that Panama's personnel is better than Jamaica as well. I think that Jamaica have better personnel than Panama. The problem is just Panama football is just light years better than Jamaica's football. For some reason, I don't understand that. Oh, we have so much good ballers, but yet still we cannot play as fluid as Panama. I don't know if when we get more game time, it's going to change, but I am waiting to see. But we know we should be playing good football like what Panama are doing. At least we deserve that. At least we deserve that. You understand me? No excuses. If Jamaica doesn't top this, the quality and talent is a level above the other teams in the group. Aiming for Copa qualification is a feasible goal. That is true. All right, but let me realistically look at it, guys. Now, okay. Never said anything about personnels. No, but I'm saying the style of play, Guatemala was better than Jamaica in the style of play when we do match up with them. That's what I was talking about. With personnel, I would agree that Jamaica was better with the personnels, and like they have the better personnels on the field. That's what I was saying still. All right. But anyways, let me move on to who we think actually going through, like how we know the results now. So Jamaica should have Grenada 1 time. They should have Honduras 1 time and 82 times. I think realistically, Jamaica should be top in the group based off what we're saying. But I have a feeling that Jamaica not going to top this group now. We might still qualify now, but I have a feeling that based on the fact that they gave us 3 matches against seeded top 8 teams, I think that will stop Jamaica from actually topping the group.
Is the game against Honduras in Jamaica or Honduras?
2 of them in Jamaica. 2 games for 2 Honduras. Yes, 2 and then away. So that will help. But I have a feeling that I have a feeling that it's going to be tough because even though we have that at home, those are two of the tougher teams we have in our list. And I think we're going to draw one of those games. I just have that feeling.
We could. This will be very okay. So matchups, let's go.
So people, look at what we're saying. Oh, the metric of how they do the thing. Only if you win all of the games, then you're sure of a placement. Because Jamaica does not play Suriname. They don't play Cuba. They don't play Suriname, Cuba. And who again they missed out on? They don't play Suriname and Cuba. So Suriname and Cuba, they don't play none at all. So they can't do anything about their result. All right? Out of Cuba and Suriname, I think Suriname is the one that could win the odd game aside from people others based on the players that they do have. I want to say that out of the two. So if Suriname can beat Cuba and Grenada, that would put them on 9 points to face 80. So pretty much, if they can just beat, with the players that they've selected, if they can win their games, they only have 1 game, while Jamaica have 3 games. Because I do think the Honduras and the 280 games are 3 games. I think the Grenada game Jamaica should win relatively easy. That's what I think. Regardless of home or away, I think Jamaica should be good enough. Just the natural talent should beat Grenada. So you see where we're coming from now? So make your vote. Who you think going through now? Who you think going through? Because I like to explain myself so you understand where I'm coming from. You see? So Suriname get 3 games that are winnable for them and 1 difficult game for them. Only if Suriname makes their game difficult, that will be difficult for them. But based on paper, they should be winning 3 games, or at least minimum 2 games coming into the against the 80 game. All right. So what say you Africans? Go ahead.
So I'm looking at the matchups, right? And so Jamaica's first 2 games are at home. So they have Honduras and then Haiti at home.
I think they are must-win games.
Agreed. Because that was my concern. I didn't. If they had to play Honduras on the road, I mean, Damari Gray, welcome to CONCACAF. Enjoy that. It'll be great. It'll be fun. You'll tell your kids about it. But I think they really don't have an option other than going. They need 6. 4 won't do it. Any draw you pick up makes it more complicated because there's more variables now. So any draw, with a group this big, any draw means it's a loss because you're leaving points on the table. And yes, you have Grenada later, which on paper should be a little bit easier, but you need to get the tough wins out of the way and then get the easy stuff later. But you need to, I like that it opens up with them needing 2 wins, and I think that'll go well for them. But then the thing is, man, teams like Suriname, I don't want to believe in Suriname until they make me believe in them.
I don't want to believe in them, That's why I'm saying I'm just looking on side those 2 results: Jamaica first result and Suriname first result. And that's how I'm gonna judge this group.
But Suriname has Grenada twice. Now that's more of an even.
So Africans, what do you think I was talking about?
It shouldn't. This is just like it. I can't. I've been hurt too many times, JD. I've been hurt 1 too many times. I'm not going to do it. No, Suriname won't leave, which means that means then I have to go. No, but that's this makes no sense. It's making me choose things. You know what? I'm gonna do it. It's gonna be Jamaica and Honduras.
Jamaica and Honduras. Honduras don't have to play Suriname. Yes, they have to play Jamaica once, right?
Yeah.
And let me see how Honduras game sets up.
They have Cuba twice, and then
they have Cuba twice.
Yeah.
So if we have to,
and then Grenada.
And they have Grenada. So they have Cuba twice and Grenada. Yes, Honduras is in the run. But and so you think that Honduras will win all 3 of those games? So they're going to go on 9 points.
I think Honduras will go on 6. and that's all they need. Or 9, yeah. They'll go on 9
They
points.
have to go on 9, and 6 ain't bringing them through. I think 9 points qualify you in this group. 9 points.
Yeah,
so
I think they can do
Honduras, all right, or Honduras 9 points. So guys, you see the complication right there. So you think they're gonna lose against Jamaica, but win all their other games, and they can afford.
Yeah.
All right. Judgmental deity says Jamaica and Honduras making it out. All right. I think this group is gonna come down to the wire. I just have a feeling this group is gonna come down to the wire. Last time Haiti played us at home, we lost 2-0. What? Really? The players were not feeling the vibe to play because JFF owed them a lot of money. Oh God, so that's not looking good then. So are we giving Jamaica too much credit? That's what Lee Young trying to say then, because the last time he said we lost to them 2-0. All right.
Or is Lee Young saying we paid them money already, so we should be good? It should be.
No. We have not paid them their money as yet. We are trying to pay off the girls. So the boys,
don't show
in the future, you know.
don't show Bunny Shaw and say congratulations, girls, man. Turn it, man. That'll be. I think that's. If you look at the group and who plays who.
Mario, Honduras. The last set of results against Jamaica, Honduras is very good. I think Jamaica won both of them, right? It's El Salvador. Jamaica drew it the last 2 times, back and forward in the qualifiers, but they won the 2 games them against Honduras, home and away. The one for home, away in Honduras, we were very, very lucky in that one. But the one in home, we played massively better, improve. I thought that was one of Paula's games as well, when we were seeing Ravel Morris and all of those guys. Yeah. Thought that's how it went. Yeah. So a good display. So I think, and that's how the team sounds like they're up to face Honduras, and they believe that they can get a result. Yeah. They're picking out Haiti to be the harder game, but Africans seems to think that Honduras will be the harder game. But the team itself thinking that Haiti will be the harder game, because they said, they played Honduras, and Honduras always we have good results against Honduras. So at least that's what this assistant coach thinks. They are more siding towards Haiti. Who you think will be the harder game out of the 2 guys, Haiti or Honduras?
I think Haiti will be the tougher team, because I think just from a physicality standpoint, they match up better.
That's what I think. Because we play and rely on physicality, and they can match us in physicality. It comes down to other variables for us to get a result. The Honduras team, only if they can outpress us and we struggle on the first balls and stuff, that's how they can dominate the game. But I do believe that Haiti should be the tougher one. I am worried about Ravel career, very worried. One thing things have passed away. We don't worry about Ravel's career, man. All right, Dr. You're blessed yourself. Thanks for being here. Massive respect. Haiti or Honduras for Jamaica. Who you worried about and who will advance on this group? Because the metric that we're seeing, the good teams in this group should be Jamaica, Honduras, Haiti, Suriname, then Cuba, and then Grenada last. That's how the order should be. All right. And if that's the case, it makes it a hell of a group, because that means we'd have put Suriname above them, and then Suriname would have to play them to get their points. And then Honduras only play Jamaica once, so Jamaica can't slip up against Haiti none of the games them. Or even if they go on to do good, they might still not make it through. So this, oh my God, man. I think CONCACAF knew what they were doing, Africans. They made it for excitement. They made this for excitement. Believe me.
No, I agree. Because I think, ultimately, again, there's on paper who should go, but then the pathway, right? You could easily say that the team that's going to affect this group the most is going to be Haiti. This group is going to run through Haiti, not because Haiti's good, but if Haiti's going to give a team a hiccup that they didn't expect to have, right? It could be Honduras. It could be Jamaica. And if it's Jamaica, because that's the thing, the more, and I said this earlier, the more points that you drop in this group, the more it is chaotic. Get your wins where you expect them, get your results, but a draw has to be looked at as a loss because it's not just 4, it's 6. So now you're looking at teams and thinking, okay, well, you won't be good.
First to 9 points.
Yeah. You got to be this.
First
Get
to
to
9
9 and then
points.
breathe. Get to 9, then regroup, and then figure out what you have to do after that.
Yeah, first, let's up Dr. Euro. Guys, we have 100 people in the chat. Get the lights up. We are going to only 2 hours. We still need a few to get to 100. Irevive said, Jamaica won't lose a single game in their group. No offense, but on paper, Jamaica should have far too much quality. We just came out of a group, right? We just came out of a Gold Cup where we said we have the best team in the Gold Cup. How much teams Jamaica honestly look better than in the group, in the tournament? So that you have to put together now our vibes and say that how much have we improved since the Gold Cup to say that because we have more on paper, we are going to be far superior than them. 80 and Honduras was not in our group. We had Trinidad and Tobago, and Trinidad and Tobago ain't better than 80 and Honduras. So Trinidad and Tobago ain't better than 80 and Honduras, you know. All right. And if we are going to look at metric, 80 played Mexico way better than how Jamaica played Mexico. You understand me? So we have to look at all of those things as well. So I know you have to go one side in your statements, always our vibes, but you have to look at metrics as well. And I don't think it's hands down as what you said. I think it's going to be way more difficult, and even the coaches them saying it's way more difficult than what you're saying still. I don't know where you're coming from. Yeah, you're just saying too much quality, but I have yet to see those qualities. I am still waiting on them. Dr. Harry said both of them should be worried about at this point. All right. Honduras played 80 very well in the Gold Cup. Yes, that was a very good game. Look at that again, Sandro. Thank you very much, Sandro. So I don't know why people think that this group is going to be a walk in the park. Heard DC United kicked him because he was underperforming. Okay, that's tough. Kelvin J said, I think all 3 will have 9 points. Oh, that would work now. That means 80 would have to beat Jamaica in 1. Hold on, let me make sure we get the 80 all 80 games. Let me make sure. So 80 will play 81st game. 81st game is on the 8th for Cuba. So maybe by the time 80 beat Jamaica, they're already on 3 points. They could be on 3 points already. If Cuba beats 80, oh my God, this group will be on. This group is going to be a heck of a group. You understand me? If Cuba beats 80, all right?
But that's the thing, Jay. That's why I said Cuba, I think. Like what I was saying, that's why I think this group is going to run through Haiti. Haiti's going to say a lot about which teams move on and don't move on, not because they're going to. Any team Haiti beats complicates things. Any team Haiti loses to makes things a little bit more clear. Haiti is going to be Haiti is the rest stop that every team has to stop through to decide what's going to happen, I think. And so ultimately, Haiti affects more of the top teams and can affect the top teams as well. So I think Haiti will have their say as to who wins this group. So we'll see how that plays out.
I am watching this 80 Cuba game because now I know it's so important. I am watching it so we can know what Jamaica will be all about. So 80 playing Cuba first, then Jamaica, then Suriname third, and then Jamaica fourth. So if 80 wins and get a draw or so against Jamaica, then they have everything to play for in the next games, all right? Because now they can decide what really happens. It will be goal difference, Honduras and Jamaica 80. Okay. Conrad, big up yourself. Thanks. It said big up JD and Africans. Oh, massive respect. Then Giovanni says big up. Chevon Gray looks like another good addition. Does he? Well, I have yet to really check out everything about him, but we are still waiting. You know, we have so much things to do, like talking about these teams. Yeah. So that's why. All right, let me see what time Jamaica game is going on because I want to do 80 game as well. All right, so 80 Honduras is Saturday, 3 o'clock. So I can get to do 80 game. Let me see Suriname, because this group is all over the place, man. So let me see when Suriname have games, because if Suriname have game, please don't make Suriname. Okay, Suriname first game. Suriname first game is 1 o'clock. So I have to do 3 games in a row. Africans, can we do that? Can I do 80 first, 80 finishes? We can start 10 o'clock, then start Suriname 1 o'clock. Suriname finishes 3 o'clock. And then we'll go for Jamaica. I think I'm gonna do all 3 games. All 3 games, back to back to back to back. Yeah, all 3 games. Yeah, so people line up. I'm going to do 2 games on this channel, and then over the next channel, I will do Jamaica versus Honduras. All right, so we're going to do all 3 games. Let me know if you want all 3 games, guys, because it's education, and that's the only way you learn. If you want to stay in a delusional phase, then you don't want to watch the other games, but all 3 games I am interested in, so I can talk on them. All right, and I would love for people to join me. So let me know. Drop a yes if you're interested in all 3 games, and you will be here with us. All right, so 6 hours out of our time we are going to give you. Lock in. All right, so I'm not going to do any build up of no Jamaica game. I might drop off half an hour before, and Africans can finish that stream for me, and then I come over half an hour for Jamaica game. That should be good enough. What say you?
I think that should be doable.
All right, so we can see Suriname, we can see 80, and then we can see Jamaica. Jamaica is the last damn game, 3 o'clock. So man's not sleeping on that day. Oh my God. Yeah, so we have not decided who win the group as yet. You know, we're looking at all sorts of things, and then we get more confused. So what we said, Jamaica should win. Win the group. That's what we're settling on. Jamaica should win the group, or we're not saying that. What we're saying.
I think top 2 will be Jamaica and Honduras.
Jamaica and Honduras.
Yes.
Jamaica and Honduras. That's the Africans. Jamaica, Honduras. Honduras. All right, that's the Africans. For me, I honestly can't call it. I think it's going to be that close.
Well, you have a week before you change your mind.
All right, 1 week I have to decide who is going to win this group, people. This group is going to be very tight, tighter than what you think, all right? Andrew said Suriname will spank Grenada. If they spank Grenada, they're going to breed some hope in a lot of us because we want to see them win games.
No.
But they are playing pretty football, but they're not winning. So we have to wait until they do win the game. We expect them to be the favorites in the game, but let's see how it goes. They were the favorites against Puerto Rico. They had chances in the first minute to score, never scored that one, and then it closed in on them, and Puerto Rico brought themselves back to a good position and caused them all sorts of problems. So maybe Grenada trying to replicate the same thing as well to cause as much problems on them. So we have to wait and see. But for me, I am not as sure as Irie Vibes that Jamaica will walk away with the group and stuff. So for that, I would love to watch all the matches. Then I can properly know who is winning this group, you know. But if I have to make a first guess, I would say it slightly favor Honduras, and it's slightly because I would have more faith in Honduras beating Cuba and Grenada twice. Cuba twice and Grenada once, right? Africans. That's their roster. Cuba, yeah. I have faith in but Cuba, I think Cuba is harder to beat twice, you know. But I still believe that I have faith in Honduras to get more points. I don't think it's going to. I think Suriname might turn out to beat Grenada twice, you know, and get more points out of it, you know, because to beat Cuba on a 1-half is better than to play them twice. Yeah. You understand me? So I want to say Suriname still have the opportunity to get 9 points first,
Yeah.
before slightly better, maybe 1% better than Honduras. But because of Honduras' record, I believe that Honduras will still find a way to get as much points. But it's tight between to say how much Suriname and Honduras will get, because they're poised to get 9 points of their own without 80, and Jamaica can do anything about it. So if Jamaica can't match 9 points, or 80 can't match 9 points, it's hard to say they're going to go through. And that's why I said it's either Jamaica or 80 to go through. Because the next two teams seems to be having their own power. They have their own power. So for instance, if Honduras draw with Jamaica, we are looking at Honduras the favorites to win the group. You don't realize that, Africans.
Well, I think that, but
Honduras gets a draw, they are winning this group. If Honduras gets a first draw against Jamaica, they are winning this group.
It's possible, yeah. Because then we look at Jamaica differently. Yeah, because then we look at Jamaica differently.
Beat up 80. Jamaica ain't gonna beat up 80 as Honduras can beat up Grenada and Cuba. You understand me? That's what I'm saying. If you look at it.
It can, but then the thing with this is matchups, JD. Stylistic matchups, things that work best versus teams, right? And this is where I think Haiti and Jamaica matches up well with Haiti, because if they're going to play that style of up and down physical football as best they can, I think Jamaica can do that much better, or better than what Haiti can do. So even if Jamaica does draw against a Honduras, I think though, to me, the groups will always come down to the double matchups, the derbies, the back and forths. And like, if you're telling me matchup wise, who do I think matches up better? I think Jamaica Haiti is a better matchup for Jamaica than Honduras Cuba is, because I think stylistically Haiti can play that game, but Jamaica can play that game a little bit better right now. And I think the talent, I think they can I'll put it this way, and this is not to take away from Canada making the Nation League's final, where it's like, did Canada beat Panama, or did Canada out-talent Panama on the pitch, right? Was it all tactics, or did you have your two best players go out and do something and win, right? That's how some people talk about it. But ultimately, that's how I look at this Jamaica, Haiti, these two back and forths. Ultimately, I think they match up a little bit better, because if Haiti wants to play that game, Jamaica will be like, okay, we can do that. You just want to kick and run? We've done this from time. So we'll just kick and run a little bit faster. And I can't believe I'm going to say this, JD.
Right. Nice point. I like that. Well, one thing we know, it's going to be one hell of a tournament, and I'm going to enjoy all of this tournament. I'm going to cover a damn lot of videos, a lot of videos. All right, so we saw Gino says Lamberto Loma, best midfield play that plays for Violet FC is on the roster now. Okay, thank you very much for that. Sandra said Cuba will park the bus against Honduras. Warren says big up yourself, and Jay Seguna says big up yourself. Hope all is well with you and the family. All right, so it's tough for people. So what you're going to do, leave your thoughts in the comment section, who you think will win each groups. For the girls football, we talked about that U-17s, even though they have not picked it as yet, like the groups as well, where they're going to play from. But you can still look at it and see who you think has a better chance to maybe upset United States or Mexico, because you know that both of them will be on separate sides. We have Nitro in the building as well. Massive respect, Nitro. People smash the like button. We are 20 more likes and we are good. Get it to 90 at least. We have 30 more minutes to go before the 2 hour. And this is one of our episodes where me and Africans chop up what's going on throughout the week. So Africans, do you have any other thing you wanted to ask? And persons inside the chat, that we take these 12 minutes to ask the necessary questions.
No, throw in the questions. The thing I forgot to mention, going back to the top of the video, with the U-17s, because the Dominican Republic is hosting, CONCACAF only has 2 bids. So basically, you have to be in the finals to be going to the World Cup, which means the conversation, which we didn't get to a little bit, which is for me, who has a chance to make the finals? I mean, who's the team that you think you can beat at the U17 level? Who are you? Do you want to avoid Mexico? Do you want Mexico in your group, or do you want Mexico in the semis? Vice versa. Do you want the USA in your group, or do you want the USA in the semis? I'm saying right now, Haiti, Canada, and Costa Rica have the best chance to knock off one of those two top teams. I think
Okay.
one of those three teams has the best chance to knock off those two top teams. Who do I
Costa
give my?
Rica.
Yeah.
Costa Rica seems like they would match up better against Mexico.
Yes.
Mexico playing style. Yeah.
Yes.
Haiti seems that they would match up better against United States type playing style. With the extra physicality, I think they can do something against United States. But maybe United States might cook just the same. But and we can't left out Canada. Canada looks like they're gonna cause a hell of a problem. I think Canada still reigns supreme as the biggest team to cause an upset. The Canadian team.
Yeah. I want to see what that team looks like, because even in their game, like you could tell if they give this group a camp and a couple friendlies, that they work on their cohesiveness, because they had a lot of ideas on the pitch where you could tell that like the center back and the winger, or the fullback and the winger, weren't on the same page. And I think if you clean that up, then you look a little bit more decent. Now, granted, they did that against Bermuda and Dominica. Those two teams will not be in the final eight. There will be no 21-0 games. We are sure of that, unless if that happens, then we have serious questions. But yeah, I think ultimately, one of those three, if I had to make a decision right now, I think it's Costa Rica. I think Costa Rica, out of those three teams I said, I think they have the best chance versus any of those two teams. I think they have the best shot against Mexico and the best shot versus the US. But it's the same thing we said with the U20. I think ultimately avoid the group with Canada in it, because then you don't have a chance at that point. So whoever ends up in the group with that Canada is not in has a better shot to move forward. But knowing my luck, what will happen? You'll have Mexico, Canada, Haiti, and
Haiti in this team group?
Oh yeah, of course. Knowing my luck, it'll be those three teams. And you know what? Let's just have fun with it. Costa Rica, just for kicks. And then out of that group, there's no easy matchup. And people will complain and say, "Oh, Canada underperformed." And I'll say, no, the region is catching up. You give credit to the players on the other team; they get paid to play too. But yeah, based off that, that's what I would say. I think Costa Rica, how they looked, have the best shot to really do something against those two top teams.
I think you're not giving Canada credit, but I think Canada has the best shot. But the fluidity, and that is a problem for Canada. They have the talent, they have the natural talent, but I just don't believe that they have the fluidity in all of their teams. All of their teams as ladies, I think that is the problem for them. If they can play fluid, they are going to be massively better.
And that's what I mean by give Canada a camp and a couple friendlies, and I think I will feel a lot better. And again, they won their two games 30-0. But I still think, like, looking at the game, like there are moments in the games where you watch them and you're like, oh, you can see the fullback is thinking this, and the midfielder is thinking this, and the ball ends up here. And you're like, no. So give them another camp where they can get a little bit more fluid with themselves and understand and just be a bit more cohesive. I'll feel better about them. But based off what I saw, and stylistically, and the good thing is this is U17, so it's a little bit more level. Puerto Rico's going to do something, they always do, but I think Costa Rica is 4 with a bullet in this region, and they're coming for whoever's in third. And we saw them at the U20. They gave Canada work, but Canada got the result done. I think Costa Rica is that next team that could be starting to push to be top 4 in the region. We don't know who that is. We had that conversation after the women's CONCACAF championships. We don't know who the 4th best team in CONCACAF was. We thought it was going to be Mexico, but at that level, they haven't been able to deliver. So at this point, I think Costa Rica is creeping to come in. I think Jamaica's still in the conversation, but we haven't seen. They've looked better at the U20s, but we didn't, unfortunately, and that's not really their fault here. Yes, they only had a week to prepare, but you had 2 games to qualify and you weren't able to do so. It's a bit of a harsh reality, but it's not fully their fault. But the federation's got to do better with that. But ultimately, moving on to Nations League here, yeah, I think Honduras, Jamaica feels like that's going to be the top 2. This Group B, runs through Haiti, and then Group A, JD, run that back real quick. Who's in Group A again?
Group A, let me put up Group A right here. Group A, a super group, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I know Lee Young doesn't want me to agree with him because then that means then the sun isn't shining, things have frozen over, all that fun stuff. But no, Martinique showed me enough that I could think maybe they could do something. But now it's just they have to get the results going through, and I think Panama should be the easy pick number 1. It's either Martinique or Guatemala right now. Curacau's in the same conversation with Suriname, which is I need results to justify any type of hype I've had with this team now. So I need that. But ultimately, I think Guatemala and Martinique, those are the teams. I think it's one of those 2 teams makes it through. And that'll be interesting. And I'm not wishing ill will on anyone, but if Hugo Perez happens to be out of a job, he should call somewhere in the over the 33rd parallel, and then we can see if he can get a job coaching Canada's men's national team, because he's my CONCACAF pick for if I had to pick someone. He's my CONCACAF pick. That's what we'll say.
Nitro, bless up yourself. Thanks for being here. Sancho says 80 will counter in 80 with countering football against Jamaica. 80 will play very defensive. Okay, fair enough. So if it's only the group winner advances, yeah, that's in the ladies U-17. Yeah, the only group winners advance. So we have already, you know that already, Jason. You know that already. Yeah, so we only have Mexico and United States. Giovanni, okay. And Edward says why 80 did not bring Fafa Pakal. I don't know. I have to do some research on that, and then I can let you know for the next one. Jamaica have no business playing Copa America if they are losing to teams like 80 and Honduras. Okay, our vibes every year, every week, every stream you come and you put down every other team and overhype Jamaica. Every week you come with that same thing. If it's up to you, Jamaica is the greatest football team ever. And that is not true, because both of these teams have a good history in the region. So and CONCACAF football is very good. No, we're playing youth club competition from all of these countries except 80. The other countries then performing better than Jamaica's teams. Then Jamaica team doing well. No, one and 2 of them winning a game and stuff, but they are not outperforming anybody. So why are you putting down other countries? It's the reason why Jamaica has to play these games is because Jamaica is not a top 4 team. And that is for a reason, because we have not won all the games. So if we're as good as what you said, our revives, we would have been a top 4 team. We had the chance. So give the other teams some respect, and give the coaches from Jamaica respect, and give the players from Jamaica respect, and let them go there and do their thing. Stop saying if they don't win against these teams that they have no business being there. What is wrong with you? You come like every day, get up, you sleep on the wrong side of your bed. All right. Okay, Sandro. Based on Honduras and 80 performances in the Gold Cup, they are tough teams for Jamaica, 1000%, because that is the fact. 80 actually played Mexico better than Jamaica played Mexico. They created enough chances to score. Jamaica barely had chances on 80 and Mexico to even advance majority of the game. You get me? So I don't know why Irish vibes make it look like 80 them are some biggie that team and Jamaica is this world beating team, when Nothing like that, man. Jamaica is trying to become that exactly what the coach says. And it's people like Ira Vibes that puts the team under unnecessary pressure. You understand me? Because if you're already trying to laud people with things without they deserve it, are actually reach there, you're forcing it. Let them go out there and play the game, and we support them. If they win the game, yes, they win the game, and they build off that, build on a system. So once they're coming back, they know exactly what they're gonna do in the system and keep on building. That's how it has to go. Plastide is our best goalkeeper. That's why he still make the test man regardless of his age. Yes, I agree. Because even in the last game against Mexico, I was saying that if he was there, it would have been better for 80. You know, so he's coming back, and they have good players in different areas as well, and they have their what they would call it, their fringe players, just like how Jamaica have their rotation players just the same, and their rotation players are good just the same. So I think we are pretty much not looking at it that way, the right way. You get me? Because if we're playing Panama, if we're going to drop the market value, Panama market value ain't over the roof over 80 market value. It ain't over the roof. You understand me? But yet still, if we are playing Panama, we are not going to say we are the favorites. That's the sad thing. So what are we equating favorites to? In Africans, what are we equating favorites to? I don't know. I'm clueless.
We'll always evaluate based off the talent, where we see people play, but it's the cohesiveness, it's the unit overall. So ultimately, anything can look great on paper, but ultimately it has to look better.
But Panama team coming in at 14.2 million, and 80 team coming in at 16.2 million.
Yeah.
Obviously, that is not the right way to evaluate talent. But at the end of the day, it still showcases that they have high-valued players on their pitch, even over Panama. But Panama seems to always get this high result. And then once we see Panama, we kind of fear them. You understand me? So then why is it you're putting down 80 that's valued more than Panama?
For me, that's a conversation for another day, because I think
that's another day. We have reached the end of Ira Vibes and his madness overhyping every day. So people, yet again, we had a good show. Next week we'll come with a much more organized, much more vibesy one as well. Africans will be prepared and everything. We are going to make sure he's on time and everything. So thanks yet again, everyone that passed through. And we will try and do this again. We're going to put African's link in the description for this video, and also under the pinned comment. So you can go over there and give him some likes and subscription. We're going to try and do one and few post matches over there as well. So you guys can always come over and we'll do it as a thing. So let me be the footballing heads and not the sensationalists. This is all right. At least I want to run a channel that is footballing, a footballing thing, like people educated on football. They are watching the games, they know everything. I can't bother with the sensationalism. So people, Africans, give you a final take, and then we're out of here. You know.
No, it's interesting. U-17s will be interesting to watch when they play that tournament. Everything in terms of Canada, I think they're not in the worst position without a manager. It's not as bad as it looks, but it's not ideal either. I think ultimately they have the time now to actually find the candidates, and I think aiming right before the Copa America should be their time frame. Do I have any favorites? I can only speak from a CONCACAF level, and I've kind of alluded to this. I think if you're looking within Canada, a name like Bobby Smyrnionis, who's running one of the top teams in the Premier League for Canada's Premier League, Forge FC, that would be a good name to look at. If you're looking at CONCACAF, I mean, the ideal name, I think that would be a dream if you could somehow lure Thomas Christensen away from Panama. I don't see that happening. But that's why I think a name like Hugo Perez could be very intriguing if for some reason El Salvador lets him go. I don't see that happening, but if he were ever to be available, I would look at a coach like him and say he would be a nice fit. And then I think this job will get some international interest because, again, you have talented players. You have a World Cup berth coming. Any team that hosts, you always have that, and you have essentially 3 years now to build this out. So I think there will be interesting names that will come through. I don't think you're going to get an Ancelotti type name. I think that's too big. Let's throw that away. But I think we can get a nice side, a nice name ultimately. Internationally, there's so many names stylistically. It does put Canada's pool and recruitment a little bit on pause, but I do wonder if now we look at our pool a little bit differently versus how the Herdman regime looked at it. And then Nations League, I already said my piece. CONCACAF overcomplicates things. They could have just done groups of 3 and then home and away for both teams. But with this, I think Group A, I think for Group A, El Salvador will run who makes it out of this group. And Group B, it'll be Haiti. But ultimately, I think it'll be Guatemala and Panama in Group A. And then I did say Martinique initially, and I think it'll be Guatemala or Martinique along with Panama. And then ultimately for Group B, I think it'll be Jamaica and Honduras, with Haiti either drawing or winning, complicating things for top nations. But ultimately, it'll be a fun to get it going next week, and we will definitely be watching, giving our takes, our analysis, and our evaluation as to what we think this does for these teams. We're trying to qualify for the Copa America and under brackets try to win the Nations League for 2023, but no one really cares about that right now. It's about Copa America and playing big games against big teams. Yes.
All right, guys. So thanks yet again, as what we said, Africans in the house, JD, and we're signing out. So take care, people, and have a nice day. Smash the like button on your way out, and definitely subscribe on your way out as well. Peace out. See you in the next one.